CataractCoach.com, and I've got a question for you. Should we do hydrodissection, hydrodelineation, or both for our routine cataract cases? Here's a case where we're going to put a toric lens in. The black ink marks are at the cardinal meridians, and the epithelial marks on the cornea on the left and right are for alignment of a toric lens. We're going to make our main incision now, and I want you to see that we make the main incision about 90 degrees away from our toric marks. And why is that? Well, we want to make the incision either on, which is the best option, or 90 degrees away from those marks, because that will allow us to keep the axis or meridian of the astigmatism the same while just changing mildly the magnitude. Forceps are used to make our capsulorhexis. We want about a 5 or 5.5 millimeter capsulorhexis, and we'll continue that. It's important to hold the toric lens in position. If it's slightly large, keep in mind that the capsule does shrink wrap down in the post-op period, and that will certainly hold the lens very securely. Now for hydrodissection, you're separating the cataract nucleus and epinucleus, separating it away from the capsular bag and hopefully from the cortex as well. Hydro-Delineation is that golden ring there. We'll do another golden ring of delineation, and it won't rotate because we didn't do the hydrodissection yet. So let's do a hydrodissection. There you go. And now it's very loose, and I can certainly rotate the nucleus. By doing the hydro-delineation, the golden ring there, we're giving ourselves a smaller nucleus to chop, as well as providing an epinuclear shell of protective cushioning. Let me show you. Buzz in with the phaco probe, place the chopper. Let's chop the endonucleus into 2 halves. There we go. Each nuclear half can then be brought up to the iris plane and emulsified. This is not too dense of a cataract. The endonucleus here is smaller because the endonucleus has been separated away from the epinuclear shell. So we'll take out the endonucleus very easily. It'll certainly come up through our capsulorhexis. And you notice we just did the one chop at the beginning of the case. Now, to grab with vacuum only, no phaco energy here, that's the big epinuclear shell, and we'll use the chopper to help bring that out of the bag and emulsify it. So that's the extra step we have, is removal of the epinuclear shell. So the advantage of having hydrodelineation is you're going to have a smaller nucleus to bring out, a smaller endonucleus. In addition, you're going to have a protective barrier to that epinuclear shell. Now, you may not want to do this in all cases, and in cases where the cataract is very dense, you may not be able to get that golden ring of hydrodelineation because the nucleus doesn't have that cleavage plane possible when the density becomes so high. Here we're removing the lens cortex, and we'll clean up our capsular bag here, taking our time. So what should you do? Should you do hydrodissection and delineation, or both? Well, I think on almost every case, you really have to do hydrodissection to free the nucleus to allow it to rotate. Hydrodelineation is important in certain cases like a posterior polar, cases where maybe the capsulorhexis is smaller than you wanted and you're worried about being able to get the endonuclear pieces up through the rhexis. That may help. But I think it's a valuable tool, and we should all learn how to do it. You may not use it in every case, but it's certainly useful. Let's fill our capsular bag now with our viscoelastic. That's a good fill there. There's a little bit of a lens cortex material in the subincisional space, so we'll get that at the end. There we go, and we're going to put our toric lens in. Here comes a single piece acrylic monofocal toric lens. We'll deliver that inside the capsular bag. That looks great. And allow that to open up. So if you watch a lot of my videos here on Cataract Coach, you know that out of the hundreds of videos you've seen, I tend to do hydrodelineation in a small percent of them. In most of them, I don't really need to do it. But in certain cases, it does make the surgery a little bit easier. We'll get the IA probe now and remove viscoelastic from behind the IOL optic. Very important. Remember, for a toric lens, we don't want that toric lens to rotate out of position. And if we leave viscoelastic behind the optic, it can do that. So now removing the rest of the viscoelastic from the anterior chamber, and then we'll go ahead and line up the toric lens at the correct axis. I'm going to rotate the lens here using the chopper. The IA probe is just used for infusion at this point. And we line up the lines of the toric lens with the marks on the cornea. So nice and gentle rotation there, keeping the optic well centered underneath the rhexis edge, and that looks great. So I encourage you to try both hydrodissection and hydrodelineation on some cases. In other cases, just do the hydrodissection. But see what works best in your patient population, in your hands. But it's an important technique that we have to learn. And you'll find out, like me, a lot of times I really do want to do that hydrodelineation just for an added measure of safety. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it.